Hey everyone, welcome to the SipStack video podcast. This week, as discussed, we're doing something slightly different, and I want to welcome you to the Writer Review series, where we're going to review some of our published articles from the last couple of weeks to really help you dial in your writing skills, give you some inspiration, and help you work on your writing tradecraft. Here's today's edition. Horizontal thinking might be one of my favorite thinking exercises for idea generation and creativity. It's also one that I find not a lot of people have experience with or even understand what it's for. So let's quickly talk about how our brains work and then jump into this exercise and why it can be so powerful. Your brain is wired to take shortcuts. You can call this lazy or you can call it efficient. Either way, that's what it does. It finds the fastest way to accomplish its goals and it sticks with those. That's literally how habits form. It's an automation that your brain is running. We could go into why your brain finds it so useful to form these automations and how you accidentally tell it that bad habits are a good thing, but we don't have time for that this morning, and I'm distinctly unqualified to perform biopsychology deep dives. Now, unfortunately, this can be detrimental to creative thinking. Creative thinking requires us to break outside of our normal lanes and consider alternatives. Maybe this is a better way of unloading, maybe there is a better way of unloading the dishwasher, or maybe it's how to bring your winding period piece drama to a satisfied conclusion. In either of those endeavors, your brain is looking for the most succinct way to accomplish its task. And it does this based on linking together ideas that it knows have worked in the past. Idea linking is vertical thinking. It's a chain of inputs that leads one into another, progressing towards a predetermined goal. Horizontal thinking is exactly the opposite. When you practice horizontal thinking, what you want to do is short circuit your brain's need to push an idea forward to its next step for the sake of efficiency. Rather, what you're going to do is just keep coming up with new ideas that are tangentially related, but hopefully have nothing to do with one another. Here's how it works. First, write down the absolute first thing that pops into your head. Maybe it's an orange wheelbarrow. Vertical thinking would be, what could I do with this orange wheelbarrow? Where is it taking me? What do I put in it? But instead, we're going to think horizontally. So instead, consider what else it reminds you of. For me, it's landscaping. So the next thing I think of are purple azaleas, which make me think of summer afternoons, which make me think of sprinklers, which make me think of water. Now I'm thinking about the sea and what lives beneath the water. Now I'm thinking about sea monsters. We refer to space as the great dark gulfs. What if space were like the sea? What if there were giant serpents in space? Wait, how did we get here from the orange wheelbarrow? Exactly. By refusing to trail each individual idea down its expected tangent, I forced my brain to keep coming up with new ideas. Eventually, I arrive at an idea that's truly compelling and represents something I actually want to write about. Try this the next time you're stuck on your manuscript. Take whatever scene you find is aggravating your writer's block and read the last few sentences of it. Then begin to think horizontally about what could happen next. You'll probably arrive at a pretty fantastical place, and that's okay. You're not generating ideas with the expectation that one will be the absolute next step in your work. You're doing it to force your brain out of its thinking habits and start churning up new ideas. This creative churn starts the engine back up for your brain to come up with an actual solution to your writer's block. You see, your mind works best when it is being worked. That's why writing starts to come easier once you've made a consistent habit of it. Okay, well, to speak to the earlier part of this article, part of the reason you made a habit out of it and your brain is automated, part of that reason is because you've made a habit out of it and your brain is automating itself into writer mode. But also, that means you can make a habit out of creativity. You can teach your brain to begin to think laterally rather than strictly vertically. The more you try and come up with novel solutions to problems, the more you find you're coming up with strange, intriguing new ideas. Your mind will start finding interesting relationships between seemingly unrelated things and bring you to new spaces of creativity. So in a way, horizontal thinking is partially about forming a new habit. It's also about breaking outside an existing habit that might be stopping up your idea faucet. Here's the key takeaway. If you're suffering from writer's block, your brain may be trying to arrive at a conclusion it expects to be there because of thinking habits you have formed. Whether it's through horizontal thinking or through another alternative idea generation method, You need to break your brain out of the space it's in and force it to consider alternatives. What if an earthquake opens up beneath your character's feet and swallows them all into the depths of a long-lost city? Is that a good idea for your Victorian historical fiction? Probably not. But at least now you're thinking. Horizontal thinking is, in my opinion, the purest act of idea generation. None of the ideas that you create should lead anywhere. They should just generate more ideas. And any entrepreneur worth their salt will tell you that for every 50 ideas you have for a business, 49 of them are bad. The same may not be completely true for writing, but the metaphor still works. Sometimes coming up with ideas just for the sake of coming up with ideas, even some bad ones, helps your mind forge new pathways. This is my challenge to you. Practice horizontal thinking for 7 minutes today. Sit down with a piece of paper, write the first thing that comes to mind. Then write down the first thing that thing reminds you of. Do not try and advance any particular idea. Don't go racing down the what next trail. Instead of thinking what next, try thinking what else. The else is your alternative idea, and it might lead you to your next big creative break. Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Writer Review Series. We can't wait to see you again tomorrow, where we'll have more tips, new tricks, and more inspiration to help you along on your writer's journey. We'll see you then.